Two civil society organizations, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project and the Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, say Buhari should probe and not just comment on the $16 billion power projects and perceived corrupt former leaders of the country. The SERAP director, Adetokunbo Mumuni, said, quote, "We have consistently maintained the position the previous regimes have misappropriated large sums of money on projects." Also, CACOL Director Debo Adeniran said, quote, "Our stand is that the federal government should waste no time further, but should probe whoever is behind poorly implemented national projects," end quote. For more on this, I have with me in the studio the Executive Director, SERAP, Adetokunbo Mumuni. Many thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here.
Indeed. Let's start from your position and the perceived corruption of the former regime when it comes to power. Are they just circumstantial evidence or you have something to show for it?
SERAP detailed, and as a professor of law, of energy law, to look into the matter. And what the professor came up with was mind-boggling. The summary of what he was saying is that since the beginning of democracy in 1999 up and until 2015, the total sum of 11 trillion naira had been expended on the power sector of Nigerian life, and nothing has happened. It was a widely publicized report. We forwarded it to concerned people of Nigeria. And what the president eventually said about the 16 billion naira allegedly spent by the regime of Obasanjo on the electricity sector tallies with our position. What we have constantly maintained is that it is not only the $16 billion that it is amiss. A total of 11 trillion naira had been mismanaged or misspent, and we have not had anything to show for it. We have called for a probe on that in the past, and now that the president has mentioned that $16 billion that President Obasanjo was allegedly spent, we are now saying it should not be limited to that alone. The total package of 11 trillion naira spent in the power sector must be examined, because we cannot, in a democracy, be saying we are expending so much money on the power sector and we...
Okay, let's try and disentangle them one after the other before we lump in the whole sum you're talking about. Now, let's look at the Obasanjo regime. In your own estimation and your scorecard, while he was there as a president, in terms of revamping the old generating sets, changing them, refurbishing them to make them work, and towards the tail end of his administration, bringing in power plants. Was that enough to justify the amount spent?
I think I should throw that question back to you.
I should ask you. You are the Nigerian.
No. What
My job is to ask you the question.
Thank you. What we are saying is this: whether there is an improvement in the power situation in Nigeria is there for every Nigerian to see. What we have seen is a regressive progression in the power equation. So that is to say, we are spending money, we are not benefiting from it. It's as simple as that. It is not a question, it is not something that anybody will make up stories about. It is evident. You understand? When things go that way, we must ask questions. This is the democracy.
Okay, according to the response that former President Obasanjo gave, is that the EFCC actually looked into this matter. There was an inquiry set up, and that he was cleared. There was no indictment against him. Would that stand?
No, that is not possible. You see, the Constitution created the executive. It created the legislature. It now created the judiciary. When you will be cleared of anything in legal parlance, you must appear before the judiciary. And it is when the judiciary says end of story, then you can plead ultra vires acquit. When the judiciary says you are convicted, then...
Well, if the prosecutor feel they don't have any case, if they feel they don't have airtight evidence against the person, they have the right to let go of the matter, don't they?
No, what we are now saying is that the president is now focused on what has happened. we are now saying the focus should not be on this matter alone. The focus should be on the entire power sector, what has so far been spent on it. It is when the judiciary says you are cleared, that is when somebody can openly say I have been cleared. Not by what the former president was saying is that the National Assembly look into the matter.
Yes.
No, the National Assembly is not constitutionally guaranteed
to look into the
yes,
matter. Okay,
yes.
All right. Be that as it may, let's lump the whole sum now, the whole power project and all that from the past administration to what we have today. What do you think is missing? Because each government comes in and they throw in a lot of money and still you don't have something to show for it. Is it just the government or even the consortium of people buying those companies, the DISCOs, the GENCOs, and all the cos going together? Shouldn't they be involved in this kind of probe?
You see, when the probe starts, people will be brought in. You see, the DISCOs, the GENCOs said we've bought stakes in the electricity sector. And you see what happened. Part of the fraud is that $200 million was paid to finance private establishments after privatization. It is not possible. You cannot be spending public fund to finance private establishment. A lot of things went on. Godwin Igali was said to have personally collected $7.8 million to finance and execute part of the project. It never got implemented. So what we are saying is that the probe that must happen now must be total and all-encompassing, so that whoever is found wanting when the evidence comes out.
We're living this now, but do you think the president will have the political will to probe the past regime?
Let me remind the president, the only thing that is going for the president is that a lot of people believe in his integrity. And once he doesn't act according to integrity, people start doubting. Okay,
we'll leave it there. Many thanks for your time and contributions on TVC News.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
Mumuni Adetokunbo, the Executive Director of SERAP.